Good evening. Thank you very much for coming. The Nader Gonzalez campaign is focusing on the enormous role of giant corporate power over our government, over our society, and over our economy. The consumer in the United States is beset as never before in the last half century. High gasoline prices, high prices of pharmaceuticals, credit card overcharges that are at an outrageous level, and the government simply is leaving these people defenseless. Home foreclosures, everywhere they go, they're facing consumer fraud against them, corporate crime against them, violations of environmental laws against them, and the government is leaving them defenseless. Why? Because the government has become big business. The corporations are our government. Every department and agency is controlled inside and on the outside by corporate power, from the appointees from corporations to high government positions, to the corporate lobbyists who swarm all over Washington, to the 10,000 political action committees funneling money into campaigns. It is important that there be a candidacy at the presidential level that is based on 40 years of experience and success in defending the American worker, the American consumer, and the American taxpayer. And that's what the Nader Gonzalez campaign represents. If you look at our website, votenader.org, you will see the contrast between the Nader-Gonzalez issues and those adopted by McCain, Obama, and Clinton. And it's quite clear that major subject matters that affect the daily lives of all Americans are on the table for Nader-Gonzalez, off the table for McCain, Obama, and Clinton. And they start with single-payer health insurance, which all three candidates oppose, and which Nader-Gonzalez supports, along with the majority of the American people, and a recent poll, 59% of the physicians. Also deals with a taboo subject, which is challenging the bloated, wasteful military budget that now consumes $700+ billion, is over one-half of the federal government's operating expenditures. When you have that kind of waste, you end up not having enough money to rebuild our schools, our clinics, our sewage treatment systems, drinking water systems, libraries, the public transit, the public services that people rely on. Both Obama, Clinton, and McCain want to expand this bloated, wasteful military budget. These are just two of many issues that demark the kind of choice that the voters can have in November. Thank you. Anybody want to ask a question? In this rather austere environment. We should remember, since the American flag is behind me here, that the Pledge of Allegiance to the American flag ends with the phrase, "with liberty and justice for all," not with liberty and justice for some, with liberty and justice for all. And as many people in this country make the Pledge of Allegiance, they should give it substance. And where to give it substance is having a competitive, robust range of choices in presidential campaigns, as well as between campaigns, with a resurgence of citizen activism to take back their government and subordinate corporate power to the sovereignty of the people, which is exactly what is in the Constitution, which begins with the preamble, "We the people." Anybody want to start?
What steps would you take to get rid of what, as you said on your website, corporate personhood?
Yes. I think we need a constitutional amendment which basically strips corporations of their equal constitutional rights with human beings. You can't have equal justice under the law between you and General Motors or you and Exxon Mobil. Corporations are not people. They're artificial entities. We're not talking about their employees. We're talking about the entity. And they have enormous power and privileges and immunities. And if you give them the equal constitutional rights to lobby, to engage in political activity, You are subordinating the sovereignty of the people to the imperial domination of giant corporations, which, by the way, have no real allegiance anymore to our country other than to control it or abandon it with industry and jobs to fascist or communist dictators abroad who pay their workers 30 or 50 cents an hour and oppress any chance of forming trade unions there. Corporate personhood really should become a widely debated subject. We should remember that the word corporation does not exist in our Constitution. No legislature gave these corporations equal constitutional rights. It was a rogue Supreme Court decision with headnotes in 1886 that gave a railroad rights under the 14th Amendment as if they were persons. And so this is judge-made mischief, and it should be reversed. Now, it was Business Week magazine that actually editorialized in the year 2000, September, that, quote, corporations should get out of politics, end quote. By that they meant they're not persons, they're artificial entities. They should not be given equal constitutional rights any more than gigantic robots would be given constitutional rights. Yes?
Would you advise Obama to insist on paper ballots?
Yes, I favor paper ballots like Canada has. There's too many shenanigans and manipulation and mysterious mistakes and optical scanners and touch tones. It's just a procurement business, and the software is controlled. Imagine for our public elections, the software is owned and controlled by private corporations like Diebold, and they sometimes don't even have a paper trail. So I favor going back to what Canada does, and by 11 o'clock at night in Canada, everybody knows who won and who lost.
How are you doing with getting ballot access in states like New York and other states?
Yes. As you probably know, you can't start ballot access for a few weeks now in New York. They give you a small window of less than 2 months, and we've gotten on in 2000, 2004. We fully expect to get on in 2008.
Do you see any future in instant runoff voting to sort of get rid of the spoiler candidate?
Well, that's the easy way. Howard Dean came out for it a few years ago. John McCain said it was a good idea, but neither the Republican or Democratic parties are taking it seriously to try to get it. It's now operating in San Francisco, so it's starting at some of the local levels. They should also get rid of the Electoral College. I mean, this is really strange, isn't it? The Democrats lose the 2000 election after Gore won the popular vote because of the Electoral College, although I believe he won in Florida as well, and it was stolen from by the Republicans in many ways. But this whole idea of parading ourselves as a democracy before the world, and a presidential candidate who comes in second in a popular vote can become president. I mean, I can understand a lot of foreign countries saying, what? What's this all about? So you think that the Democratic Republican parties would engage in some electoral reforms that would give more confidence among the people in the results of their votes, and confidence that the votes are being accurately counted.
Do you think Bush should get nailed for war crimes?
I had a 45-minute declaration in front of the White House a few days ago, which was on C-SPAN, where I laid out the basis for the impeachment, resignation, or post-January 2009 prosecution of George W. Bush and Dick Cheney. They have violated constitutions, they violated statutes, they violated international treaties designed to safeguard security in the world, the Geneva Conventions, and they should be prosecuted. For example, systemic torture is a violation of federal law. Of spying on Americans without judicial warrant is a violation with a 5-year jail term. It's first-class felony. A criminal